Hello dear tea friends from around the world. Welcome to a new tea class with me, Stéphane Erler, the founder of the Tea Masters blog and the tea-masters.com tea boutique. I'm excited we continue our Oolong class of this fall 2022, and today we are going to compare the previous Shui Oolong from Dongding style from Shan that we had in the last class with the spring 2009 Shui Oolong, also from Shan and from the same farmer. So this is going to be very interesting to compare two teas that are from the same farmer, from the same style, but one was made in 2021 and the other one in 2009. So they are 12 years apart, and this is going to tell us a lot about the aging of Shui Oolong, roasted Oolongs. So I want to thank you for all who are joining today. Please give me a thumbs up and subscribe on the YouTube channel. What else? Are there any other news to say? So today I'm going to do it in a very simple style, always with porcelain when we want to study tea, and we're going to compare it because it's been now 2 weeks since we had this tea. Maybe we forgot, so always the best way to compare is side by side, and maybe we need a bit more. So let's quickly have a look again at these two teas, starting with the younger one and compare it with the older one. In terms of shape, of course, it's very similar. With time, the shape of the older one should start to feel a bit loosened up. But 12 years, it's still considered young in this type of oolong, so it does not have such a big impact yet. The leaves are still look very tightly walled, maybe just slightly less tightly as the really new one from 2021. The bigger difference is in terms of color. The younger, fresher one is a bit more green. The 2009 is a bit more reddish, has more red colors, and also a nice glow. It looks a bit more shiny on the outside. Oh, sorry, too quick. That's why I want to emphasize to be very slow when you do this, and pay attention. Okay, then I would say there's a bit more freshness, even though it's a very roasted Shui Oolong, this 2021. It has some more these also fresh roasted smells. Here we have deeper smells that's a little bit different. But of course, when the tea is in the dry stage, and now today is a bit colder outside and inside also, it's more difficult to see and to smell the differences. The differences will be more obvious once we brew the teas. So let's quickly get our 2-guy one up to speed and to the right temperature. But still, we want to do this slow, really leave it time for the lids to warm up. Hello Elizabeth, hello Dino. Thanks for joining, and we are ready. Now it's really important to get the tea to a full boil, especially with these tightly rolled oolongs. They really need maximum power, maximum heat to open up. I did not weigh the leaves, it's roughly the same. And just a few seconds. Now it's easier to smell. Lots of roasted smells here. And here smells a little bit different, more woody and maybe a little bit like slightly like Chinese medicine, which I've been taking recently. But maybe not so bitter. Okay, we are not going to go for the really the best brew, but we want to get the most. So I'm pouring with a little bit more strength, and I continue to talk while pouring, which is not what I would do when I would try to do a very thoughtful brew for pure enjoyment. This is much more for study, so this is allowed. What is also allowed is to preheat the cup. So far, not much of a difference in terms of color, shape, and smells. If you don't pay too much attention, these 12 years of difference between these two teas are really not obvious at all. They are going to be more obvious in the brew, but this is to show already that when the tea is tightly rolled, the aging is very slow because the surface of the leaves that are in contact with air is very much reduced compared to the twisted leaves of Baozhong or Hui, which are completely opened up and therefore have much more interaction with air. So with such leaves, the aging can happen much faster. With Dongding style rolled oolongs, we have this shape of leaves that prevents a quick aging, which is good if you want to preserve the freshness. That's also a strong point why high mountain oolongs, when they are well kept, they can keep their freshness for many years. But for Hong Shui, for roasted oolongs, if you want to age them and to experience this change in taste with time, it's going to take more time than maybe with Baozhong or Hui teas. So today, in order to make this transformation happen faster, instead of keeping the leaves in vacuum sealed plastic bag, what I've done is that I've put both my teas in porcelain jars like these two, in order to give them a little bit more space to open up, and especially a little bit of interaction with air, and also an interaction with porcelain, which is much more neutral than a plastic bag. Okay. Let's see if we have if the leaves have opened up. Yes, very nicely, with the typical smell of this one. Two has opened up and the lid is very hot, and a different smell. Interesting. So let's start with the 2021 Shui Oolong made in Dongding by a really master roaster, competition tea, and a lot of roasting and fresh aromas at the same time. This one's really hot. And the color is also very similar, but has a little bit more an amber hue. It turns a little bit towards a little bit more brown. Becomes a bit more brown. Is a little bit less clear than the 2021. This one shines a bit more. It's also a bit lighter in hue. This one is also a bit darker in hue. But again, the difference is really not very strong, not very obvious. But maybe the brew will be. Okay, remember how to use these soup spoons. It's not just to scoop the tea in the cup, but you can also use it to smell the tea while waiting for the tea to cool down a little bit in the cup. So I would say here a really very obvious, straightforward roast smell with the underlying oolong scents, and here the roast smells have given way to more complex aromas that seem a little bit more harmonious, whereas here we have two things. Still, it has this pungency of fresh roast that many people enjoy, especially people who are also enjoying coffee. Here you have this really energy coming from the fresh roast, but still a lot of natural scents and nice fragrances from the oolong leaves. This is not coffee, and the leaves we've seen have opened up, so they are nicely roasted. Here the leaves have opened up also, but maybe a little bit less. Maybe they were roasted a little bit more to begin with, which explains why it's been a slow change. And now what we're experiencing is the roast smells actually have gone away, where something that is very very sweet and woody, complex, deep. Here it's really difficult to find the proper words because each aged oolong is so unique and makes very unique smells. And let's have a little bit more. But what strikes is that with freshly roasted Dongding, you really have two aromas that are living side by side: the roast and the underlying oolong aroma. Here, after 12 years of age, the roast smells have really lost their pungency, and it's just one smell that it's been a fusion. So at the same time you have maybe even old wood. When you go to a church or an old place where it has old furniture made of wood, you get a little bit this old wood feeling, with of course lots of sweetness, but it's just one flavor. Here we had two, and here it has become one. So more purity in terms of taste, and of course both have a similar aftertaste. Of course, the younger one with roast has maybe more pungency, more. It's longer lasting because of its energy. Here it is much more subdued, but it's very comfortable. Maybe even more. Slower to arrive, but then doing its job really in a very comfortable way. So this really tells us everything what we wanted to know from this class. This side-by-side comparison from the same leaves, Qingxing Oolong, the same cultivar, harvested in the same plantation in Shan made from the same farmer, just 12 years difference, using the same process. Of course, it's never exactly the same. Even the same farmer will change a little bit his style, even from one batch to another. No two batches are exactly the same, but still this is as close as it gets, and as valid a comparison to understand the changes that happen to Dongding style oolong tea over a 12-year period. And what I propose is next week we'll even brew the 1980 sample that I gave together in this sampler, and then you will be able to experience even an older feeling, and how especially the scents evolve even further when it's stored not 12, 13 years, but when it's stored 40 years. This is going to be a very interesting experience, I think. And what else does it tell us? That Oolong has a lot of aging potential, but really to unleash this aging potential, you have to be careful to how you store your Oolong teas. You don't want to store them in a wet and hot place like maybe you would with pu'er. What you want is to store your Oolong in a cooler place with dry conditions. Of course, it has to be clean, and the best actually is not in the original pouch, but in such a porcelain tea jar. And these ones, they fill roughly a little bit less than 150 grams, so they are quite efficient, and they do the job very well. Also, they refine the taste, so that even if you are not planning to age your tea for 40 years, even if it's just for a week or for an hour, it will take off some edges of the roasting when you are, if you use such a jar and leave the tea in it for a few hours, maybe even a few minutes sometimes. It will have an impact on the harmony, on the smoothness of the tea. And here I've kept both these teas now for several months, and I already feel that they are getting more round and improving faster than if you keep them in your vacuum sealed bag. That's why for high mountain oolongs where you want to keep the freshness, it's best to keep them vacuum sealed as long as you don't want to drink them. But for Shui oolong, actually it helps to have a little bit of interaction with air, and by keeping them in such a jar. Okay, I think there's nothing too much to be added to this class. I want to keep it short to keep you interested and make your time valuable. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next week for then this other comparison with the 1980 Oolong from Dongding. Thank you.